Welcome to the tragic story of Medusa, a tale of love, betrayal, and curse that has captivated people's imaginations for centuries. Medusa, with her snake hair and stone-cold gaze, has become one of the most iconic figures in Greek mythology. But her true story is more heartbreaking than you might imagine. This video will delve into the life of the once beautiful Medusa, how she came to be cursed, and the tragic end to her story. But before we get into that, let's take a look at who Medusa was and how she became the creature we know today. Medusa was once a beautiful woman with long flowing hair and a face that could launch 1,000 ships. She was a priestess in the temple of Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. And many suitors vied for her attention, but her fate turned to a tragic tale due to jealousy. Let's explore Medusa's tragic fate, her encounters with the hero Perseus, and the impact her story has had on popular culture. So sit back, relax, and join us as we unravel the mystery of Medusa's life and death. Medusa's origin story. Medusa is one of the most iconic figures in Greek mythology, and her story is as fascinating as it is tragic. According to legend, Medusa was once a beautiful mortal woman, but her story took a dark turn when she was cursed by the goddess Athena. The curse transformed Medusa into a terrifying monster with venomous snakes for hair and the power to turn people to stone with just one look. But how did Medusa come to be cursed in the first place? To understand the story of Medusa, we need to go back to the beginning. According to some versions of the myth, Medusa was one of 3 Gorgon sisters, born to the sea god Phorcys and his wife Ceto. The Gorgons were monstrous creatures with wings, sharp teeth, and the power to turn people to stone. Medusa was the only mortal one among the 3 sisters, but she was still feared and reviled by many. It's important to note that Medusa's story is shrouded in mystery, and there are many versions of it. In some versions of the myth, Medusa was not always a monster, but was transformed into one by Athena as punishment for a crime. In other versions, Medusa's monstrous form was a result of a curse from the god Poseidon. The love story. According to some versions of the myth, Medusa fell in love with the sea god Poseidon, and the two became lovers. However, this love affair did not end well for Medusa. In one version of the myth, Poseidon seduced Medusa in Athena's temple, which angered the goddess. As punishment, Athena transformed Medusa into a monster, cursing her with the power to turn people to stone. It's a tragic tale of love and betrayal, as Medusa was punished for something that wasn't entirely her fault. In other versions of the myth, Medusa's relationship with Poseidon was not consensual, and she was raped by the god. This is a darker and more disturbing version of the story, but it highlights the injustice of Medusa's curse. The curse. Despite her beauty, Medusa's fate took a drastic turn after her betrayal. Athena was furious and decided to punish her. The goddess cursed Medusa, turning her hair into a mass of hissing snakes and making her face so terrifying that anyone who looked at her turned into stone. This curse was a terrible burden for Medusa to carry, and she was forced to live alone on an isolated island in the middle of the sea. However, Medusa's curse didn't just affect her appearance. It also made it impossible for her to have any physical contact with another person. Her curse was so strong that even the ground beneath her would turn to stone at her touch. It's said that she spent centuries living in complete isolation, never able to feel the touch of another living being. The curse was a cruel and unusual punishment, but it also made Medusa a powerful weapon. Her terrifying gaze turned anyone who dared to look at her to stone, making her a feared and respected figure in the world of Greek mythology. The quest. Despite the curse that had befallen her, Medusa still had hope. She longed to break the curse and return to her former life. Many brave warriors and adventurers sought to defeat her, and claim her head as a prize, believing that it would bring them great fame and fortune. However, none of them succeeded, as her petrifying gaze turned them to stone. But there was one who dared to take on the challenge, the hero Perseus, with the help of Athena, who gifted him a shield that allowed him to see Medusa's reflection rather than her directly, and Hermes, who lent him a sword that could cut through anything. Perseus set out on a perilous journey to defeat the cursed Gorgon. After years of searching, Perseus finally found Medusa's lair, deep in the heart of the underworld. Armed with a sword gifted to him by the god Hermes, Perseus entered the lair, determined to defeat the Gorgon once and for all. Medusa's sisters, Uriel and Stheno, tried to stop Perseus, but he used the reflection of his shield to avoid their gaze and swiftly beheaded Medusa. Despite her best efforts, her petrifying gaze was useless against Perseus, and he was able to decapitate her with the enchanted sword. From her neck sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and Chrysaor, a giant with a golden sword. Perseus managed to escape the lair with Medusa's head, but the battle wasn't over yet. The other Gorgons were furious at the loss of their sister, and they pursued Perseus relentlessly. With the help of Hermes, Perseus managed to elude them and make his way back to the world above. Perseus used Medusa's head as a weapon, petrifying his enemies in battle. The aftermath. Perseus returned to his homeland, but the curse of Medusa was far from over. As he walked through a village, he encountered a group of men who were about to marry his mother to one of their own. He revealed his identity and, in a fit of anger, turned them all to stone with Medusa's head. Perseus then gave the head to Athena, who placed it on her shield, the Aegis, and wore it into battle. The sight of Medusa's head was enough to turn enemies to stone and strike fear into the hearts of all who saw it. As for Medusa, her story didn't end with her death. In some versions of the myth, she was pregnant with Poseidon's child at the time of her death, and he sprang fully grown from her body. In others, her spirit continued to haunt those who gazed upon her likeness. The legacy. Medusa's story has become a timeless tale of tragedy and suffering that has inspired countless works of art, literature, and pop culture. In the world of art, Medusa has been depicted in various forms by some of the greatest artists of all time, including Leonardo da Vinci, Peter Paul Rubens, and Caravaggio, to name a few. In literature, the story of Medusa has been retold in countless forms, ranging from children's books to epic poetry. The myth has also been adapted into various films, television shows, and video games, further cementing Medusa's place in popular culture. The takeaway. So what can we learn from Medusa's tragic tale? First and foremost, we can learn the importance of communication and honesty in our relationships. Medusa's story is a prime example of what can happen when we allow jealousy and suspicion to fester, leading to betrayal and heartbreak. We can also learn the dangers of power and the need for humility. Medusa's power and beauty led to her downfall, reminding us that power must be wielded responsibly and with respect for those around us. Lastly, we can learn the importance of forgiveness and redemption. Medusa's curse was lifted by the hero Perseus, reminding us that even the most cursed and tragic of individuals can find redemption and a chance at a better life. In conclusion, the tragic fate of Medusa is a story of love, betrayal, and curse that has captivated people for centuries. It is a tale of how jealousy, envy, and the misuse of power can have devastating consequences. Despite the curse and the fate that befell her, Medusa's legacy lives on. She has become a symbol of female power and resilience, and her image continues to inspire artists and writers around the world. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more videos like this. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content.